Brandon.
And I'm Brandon.
And welcome back to Apollo City Comics, the unscripted comic book commentary and conversation show. Man, that's a mouthful. I was just seeing if that could flow.
Well, our ambition is quite a lot to handle. It's everything comic book related. So
yeah, we try to make the comic book universe easier for you to get into, because there's a lot of questions, a lot of things that people might overlook, and as observers of the comic book universe and consumers and creators, we focus on this all day long, so we might as well just share the knowledge with you guys and show you guys some stuff. We really just, it's kind of like an educational fun thing we like to do, I guess, suppose.
Yeah, and it also helps us understand what we love so much. I mean, I'm not speaking for everyone or even for the both of us necessarily, but sometimes you read a comic, you're done, you put it down, you move on to the next issue of whatever. Mm-hmm. And, the way I look at this is a great experience of rereading something and reconsuming it, relearning. And then when you try to break it down and explain it, I think that makes it even more fun, and it helps you understand the comic even more. You as in you and I, Yeah,
exactly. And we seem to have, every single episode, we surprise each other because we kind of have different sets of values and knowledge to present. So it's always fun. So thank you guys for tuning in. And while we're here, let's give a quick thanks to some of our podcast buddies. Frank, our show is engineered by Frank, part of Uninformed Movie Reviews, where you could find their YouTube channel and all of their podcast shows. And Sutro Sci Talk and Third Planet of the Black Sun. I always mess up Danny's.
I know, it's a mouthful. It's thirdplanet.news. That's where his website's at.
Do the website.
Yeah, for anybody out there who's interested, if you've listened to the show before, our good friend Danny, he created a website and he called it thirdplanet.news. It covers anything pop culture related, movies, TV shows, comics, I don't know why I couldn't say that. Collector's items or action figures, I'm also a managing editor on that site, so I try to do some a little bit of fun comic reviews of my weekly pool. So you could always check those out there, and anything else Danny and I contribute. And then you do some stuff with Sutro, don't you?
Yes, I do. Not only do we both do Cut of Steel over there, where we have the Snyder Film Talks, because we're not doing that on this channel at all. But I also do Sutro Sidewatch, where Kamran and I, and occasionally with the third chair, kind of dissect a movie, and we choose 2 films a month. And we'll give some more information on that towards the end of the episode. But you could all find that over at the Sutro channel, and right now they're just on Podcast Network.
Yeah. And if you follow us, you'll see updates from all of us all around. Sorry, I just want to throw that in there.
Oh, yeah. If you follow any of our pages, and you could get all this info. It's good stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
But today we are doing, this turned into a 2-parter because last time it went out of control. But we're here on part 2, actually volume 2 technically, of The Vision by Tom King.
Yes, and art by Gabriel Walta.
Nice. Dude, picking up on what is issue 7 of the series. Issue 7 is like the greatest issue. It's one of the best 7 comic books ever made. Just this cover is utterly beautiful, and it's hard to even move past it at times. But there's so much. This issue is the one that breaks everything down. This is the big climactic moment where things are revealed and things start to piece together, and you're just like, oh my God, this is such a sad story.
The other thing too is this issue is a great example of, if you watch any movie or TV show, really in any episodic series, if you notice when there's a big turning point in the action, and not on-screen action, but in terms of the plot action, or I guess when you have a major beat, however you want to look at it, there's typically a flashback or some sort of exposition that helps give more depth to the characters, explain a certain plot point or stuff like that. And that's exactly what this issue is doing here, is that it's kind of, and this is me looking at it from a writer's perspective, right? It's just the kind of backstory to help you understand why things are the way they are, or why characters are acting a certain way. So I think it's a really cool example of that.
Yeah, secrets are revealed, something's been exposed, the big kind of just the missing puzzle piece. And oh my gosh, if you read this issue, it's one of those things, you kind of want to read this one and then start the book over again and have this mindset of what was revealed. But we'll get to that part. And I think we're gonna spend the most time on this issue because the rest of the book kind of flies by with some like quick stuff. But man, just the setup. You open up, it's a full page splash. I too shall be saved by love. You have the Vision, and you know immediately, if you know anything about the history between the Vision and Scarlet Witch, that they were together. They were a thing for many years, and we're all kind of connected to that in the MCU right now. And dude, this joke is so corny. It's so goofy, but it's one of those things. Like, you have a robot, like synthoid, just having sex with like is she like a magician in the Marvel universe, or is she like a mutant?
She's a mutant.
She's
because,
a mutant, right?
Yeah, because her dad's Magneto. I don't know who the mom is. I'm gonna be honest. For anybody out there, I'm not the biggest X-Men fan.
Same.
I don't know too much. I stay away from team books, anything like Avengers, Justice League, X-Men related. It's a lot to keep track of if you ever tried following all of X-Men. But I could say she is a mutant. She's an Omega level one, I want to say.
No, she's not.
Which
is weird.
Magneto is, though.
Is he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. He totally is. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know all the Omegas. I just know like Kid Omega because Grant Morrison's.
Well, the Omega level mutants are usually like the most powerful or whatever.
I would assume so. You're right. Like, she would have to be, because House of M, like, that is just too much power for one mutant. Unless there's a thing above Omega, let us know. Comments.
You know what? Educate us.
Yeah,
we're gonna dive into some X-Men books eventually, and whatever X series that are worth reading. But for the time being,
yeah, we'll get to that. Man, what's cool about this book is, for one, it opens up and it gives you the connection between the Vision and Scarlet Witch. And the Vision, having created his own family, you've always kind of wondered, like, did he base this off of Wanda? Is this like his perception of her or whatnot? And because of this relationship, so we flash back to it, and it kind of gives you a brief, wonderful glimpse. It kind of reminds me of the Ed Piskor, Tom Scully, like Fantastic Four and X-Men and whatnot, how it's just like going through the entire history in like one issue, and all like the key moments in the relationships. And if you look at the linear notes in the back, there's actually like every issue that he pulled the information from is listed, so you could do your own research and find these issues and even see panel to panel comparisons. In fact, let me see if I can pull that up real fast. Let me put a bookmark here.
And that's where that job at the big two really saves the writers, because like I said, I think there is a small team of people that help keep continuity and references in check.
Yeah, right. Like, I need these issues, and they just give you a stack,
Yeah, I always felt like it was just kind of like, hey, what happened to this character? And then they just go through the data.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm almost there. I want to show this off a little bit because there's some cool stuff going on here. Yeah, I have it open right here. So it shows you Avengers 166. The first little battle sequence where they're kissing by the tree. It shows like the page that was pulled, or like what battle that was pulled from. And this is kind of like one of those scenes that, like, we're presented in issue Avengers 166, like the actual fleshed out battle, but this could have happened off to the side for 2 moments, and it's just such a sweet thing. Like, they're in the middle of a fight, and that's like the romantic getaway spot, like when all the kids are playing or whatever, like that's them hiding under the bleachers, kind of making out teenage thing. It's really cute.
Yeah, it's also strange because at this point the Vision isn't that old in terms of like actual human years, right?
Right.
So, granted, he was created by Ultron in like an adult form with like, knowledge of the world basically. But I think in terms of human interaction, this is still early within his career, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I would, I don't remember off the top of my head Vision's first appearance. Shame on me. I've seen that issue.
It's okay. I mean, we can't know everything. I know.
Also something I didn't know, and this is what, this was kind of revealed and everything, but this dinner sequence, of course it was pulled from another issue, but the fact that he was based off of Wonder Man, his personality, and Wonder Man is not a character I'm very familiar with, because that was very much those 70s and maybe early 80s, like Avengers issues, but he's never been like a modern character. And I'm not too sure why. I don't know when he was killed off. I don't know what's happened to him. Maybe he has popped up here and there very slightly, but I've literally never read a comic that had Wonder Man in it.
Same. I mean, I've read random issues with Quicksilver, and
Yeah.
that's about it. Like the Wizard, Bova Eyeshire, and Agatha Harkness. No idea.
No idea. And again, this is another one of those. My cat's eating something. I don't know what's going on. T'Challa.
And there goes Brandon's cat getting in the way.
Yep. I don't know what he just ate. That was crazy.
It's cool.
Anyways,
They could eat like over 1,000 organisms. You know,
it's like a super long
Or-
string thing.
they can handle most things they eat.
But yeah, honestly, any of these characters, dude, the Wizard, Bova Ayshire, like, what is that? I've never heard of anyone on this page except for Quicksilver. Like,
I'm gonna Google Bova Ayshire real quick.
Yeah, because that's the one I'm probably most. Oh my gosh, T'Challa, what are you doing, dude? That's the one I'm.
So it is definitely a cow. Wow, that's a character from 1974, made by Roy Thomas. That is surprising because Roy Thomas is pretty big at Marvel, at least back in the day.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Was that the cow that was like in what was it, the Kree Skrull War?
Possibly. Bova is
Possibly.
one of the new men creatures genetically engineered by the High Evolutionary, where she was uplifted from a something cattle. I don't know how to
Yeah.
pronounce
Oh,
that.
I was right. I guessed right. Oh,
Yeah.
that knowledge, though. What about the Wizard? Who's that guy? I have no idea who Robert Frank is.
I felt like I had nothing against the creators, but I feel like that is not a great name for a character.
No, it's not. The Wizard? What's that? That has to be a Golden Age classic type of thing.
1941, dude.
Ooh.
Damn.
I'm freaking on it tonight.
Fictional superhero appearing in American comic books published by Marvel Comics. He first appeared during the period that fans and historians call the Golden Age of comics. The Wizard has super speed powers, which he acquired from an infusion of mongoose blood.
Mongoose?
You know what? You learn something every day.
That's cool. That's cool. But, more stuff we didn't know. We all know about Agatha. I've seen some videos where I've learned a little bit more about her. But, interesting family table. It must be an odd Thanksgiving for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have a robot that was created by Ultron who's based off of Wonder Man. That just trips me out. But, dude, this is where things start getting dark, with Wanda and her kids. And it's weird how, like, Wanda's the one freaking out and flipping out and not able to handle reality, but the Vision, who is a robot, has a better grasp on reality and humanity than she does. And him just trying to calm her down. It's just these conversations, these flashes through their lives are so brief, but they're like key essential moments. And that's where Tom King's storytelling is so good.
Oh, yeah. He excels so much when it comes to intimate moments and the pacing.
Yes.
So what's really awesome about this issue, and also shout out to Michael Walsh, the artist for this issue.
Oh, yeah.
Worked on Justice League, Black Hammer crossover, and some of the Archie like horror stuff. So
And he's the cover artist, correct?
yeah. And, no, he's not the cover artist. That would be I'm pretty sure that's what's Mike Del Mundo.
Oh,
Actually,
Mike
no.
Del Mundo.
Yeah, that's Mike Del Mundo for sure,
okay,
because he did all the covers. I was gonna say shout out for the art because it's honestly stunning, and I kind of almost like it more than the other artists, but they're both good in their own ways.
Yeah, it is. I do like how they changed it up for the flashback too. Like when they do that and they make a point with it, it's perfect.
Oh yeah, the flashbacks, like when you do them in comic books, you always got to change either the coloring or the art because that really emphasizes that it's a flashback. But I was gonna say the moment to moment transitions and panels really work for these intimate scenes. Intimate in terms of like just really like slow paced, very like serious, and on top of that just like it's between a couple, and I think it really shows how much Tom King wants to emphasize on this couple, you know what I mean, by taking a moment and having some breathing room and letting them talk to each other, letting them interact with each other and argue and show their love and affection, and that really cements how important their relationship was.
Yes, and especially because we're seeing such a big time jump between things, and it's apparent too. Not only is it saying later at the very top over here, but it is always going on. You could just feel that, and those time jumps are, you feel them. That's the thing. It's just one of those things you can tell that things have happened, things have progressed, and now they're in the worst state, like, and they keep on turning the clock and things are getting harder and harder and harder for them. And that's just amazing how he's able to show where they are in their lives in just one page, 2 pages max. But the moments to moments, one of my favorite scenes are coming up. I'm on the page with the white vision right here where he first shows. And what I was gonna say, like, if I would have read this right before WandaVision came out, I would have understood or guessed and like known everything that was going to happen. But the Vision is just one of those characters that, you know, there's one really great book about him, but other than that, nobody really pays attention to the Vision. No one's ever said that that's my favorite character. Like, I've never heard that before. But just hearing the background on the White Vision and like what has happened to him, it's going to be interesting what the MCU does with him from here on out. And
I have a theory they might go a different route, but that's just me because they do change things up. But anything else you want to say on this issue before it ends, really? Or
the moment to moment one with the very last page of White Vision, dude. When you look at his eyes, and you know when you're going with what he's saying, like, and I wish to say goodbye. The future has come, Wanda. And on the very last panel, you see the tears finally hitting his face.
Yeah.
The future is here. Like, that is just great placement because he's not crying in the first 3. And that last one, that transition, like, you know, there was a longer pause from the first 3 for how, like, it's streaming down. And even, like, on the next page where we have, I always love when comics do this, but where they split one scene into 3 panels just to add that pacing moment. It's one of my favorite things.
And this is a 9-panel grid.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anyone, there's just that one panel in the middle, it kind of breaks it up.
And well, what we end up finding out is that Scarlet Witch hands the Vision like a replica with like kind of like her personality in it, and it's like this device, and that's what we see Virginia wearing, and that's what created Virginia. Virginia is basically based off of Wanda, like we were all pretty much assuming at this.
Yeah, you know what this oddly, in a weird way, reminds me of, and this is going really far out there. Do you listen to the Violent Femmes?
No.
You know of them, right?
No.
The folk punk band?
No.
Oh, man.
Send me some music.
I will. Well, there's a song called I Held Her in My Arms. And it's a song about being in a relationship with someone, but when he's holding her in her arms, he's saying it's not you.
Oh.
It's a song about this guy who broke up with a girl. He has a new girlfriend, and he's saying in the song as he's holding her in her arms, as much as he is into her and loves her, this isn't you though.
Oh man.
Alkaline Trio covered the song.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's on their acoustic album. Held Her in Her Arms.
Then I had
Held Her in My Arms,
yeah.
sorry.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe Frank can put a little snippet without getting copyright infringement. We'll see about that.
Hopefully, if he can at least get the chorus. But anyways, it reminds me of that because no matter how much the Vision tries to love Virginia, he will not love her to the extent that he did with Wanda in a way.
Exactly.
And
it's so powerfully done. Like when you really break it down to that point, like it hurts, you know, like he's never gonna get back.
It's one of those things. It's almost unfair to her because he like literally created her to be his wife, and it doesn't matter how much he'll try because at the end of the day, he'll always be thinking of Wanda. Because
like we even find out that the White Vision, when he becomes that, he is the same Vision. He just has like a restored like memory. He has his memories, but now he's new. And so none of his feelings that were there previously are there anymore. But then he ends up getting them back. But Scarlet Witch is now with Wonder Man, who is the Vision was based off of. So now he has to live with that, seeing them together, and she's happy with Wonder Man. And making that connection that he's like, I no longer have you. I have to create something that's like you, but that isn't you for me to even be happy. And damn.
Yeah. It's painful. And then you get that joke about him being a toaster, and he told the joke about the toaster, and it's kind of meta because he's like this toaster saying I'm talking to a toaster, but then it's Vision talking to Virginia.
And it's like it's so sad.
Her blank reaction just kind of sums up everything.
Exactly. Like it doesn't hit the same way. Like breaks my heart. This book, man, just tears you up.
Yep.
Well, issue 8, Victorious. This one really, we dive back into the Shakespeare stuff. We are introduced to a new character to me. Those of you who are already familiar with him, kudos to you. But we get to see a lot of Sparky. I love Sparky. He's really cute.
Yeah,
I bet if Spock was like green, he would look like Sparky.
If I ever get a job at Marvel, I have so many ideas for the animals in their universe.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, God,
because you're really into like crypto and all that type of stuff too.
Oh, dude, Lucky the pizza dog and
Yes.
Jeff the land shark, like, the bat cow and Dexstar. Yeah, like
Yes.
these are all DC characters too. Like, I love. For anybody who was curious, I wanted to be a veterinarian originally.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I really do love animals, and I'm all for like helping them have great lives. But I couldn't go through with it because I didn't have the heart for some of the things required for that job. But that's a whole different story. Just saying, Marvel, I got ideas. Or DC,
Well, here we are. We're introduced to Victor Mancha. That's his name?
Yeah, that's a character from the Runaways, but like later Runaways.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, Runaways is the whole thing about, and I haven't really read any of Runaways, the old or new series, but I know that, long story short, they are children of villains that don't want to be villains, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, pretty much. That's all I know. Like, I don't know anything about them.
Yeah, but this one is one of those villains, or one of those children of villains.
He's like really interesting because he's like also created by Ultron, right?
Yes, he's like he's on the cover. He is a son of Ultron, I believe.
Let's look at the family tree here.
Yeah.
You have Ultron who created. Yep. He's right below.
Yep. So they're brothers. Yeah, because they call him
brothers.
Uncle Victor.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So one of my favorite scenes is while they're in the restaurant here and they just want to look normal, and so they're sitting at the restaurant and they're just like, "Are you sure you want us to just like not order anything? You want us to toss?"
Well, he
this out?"
pays them still.
Yeah, he pays them and everything. Like, and it's just such a goofy, like a robot really just trying to fit in,
Yeah, and then funny enough, you go to the next panel and next page, they're like floating through their driveway.
Yes. And also, I love the last panel here because the family that died, it's now a new listing across the street.
Yeah, it's crazy, dude.
That's
Like, just subtly in there with the laughter.
Yes. But we kind of learn, like, he's trying to connect with each one of them in some way. And you can tell he's hanging out with Virginia, he's hanging out with Vin. They go by the grave and of Chris, who the guy that passed away. And I thought it was really interesting that they chose this Mickey panel while they're at this art museum. Do you have any indication, or what are your thoughts on them choosing that specific one?
Besides Marvel being owned by Disney, I feel like there's something else there, because this is post Disney owning Marvel.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it says,
maybe
"Look, Mickey, I've hooked a big one," and Mickey's laughing, and then it's Donald Duck, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Is hooked by his pants, like hooked himself. Like, maybe it's that.
It's hard to say. There's something there because they zoom in and they go, "What does any of this mean?"
It seems like Matcha is Mickey and the Vision is Donald Duck. Like,
that's what
the
I was
Vision
thinking too.
is like blind to like what's going on, and he's like thinks that something's happening, and he's actually being tricked because what we find out is that Matcha's actually reporting everything to Avengers, because the Avengers like are pretty much aware of what's going on, and they don't trust the Vision right now.
Sorry. I was just thinking, like, I'm trying to process that. I think it's just him, like he's got him hooked or something.
Yeah, something like it's just like there's a trap, and he's the one that knows about it, and Vision is just totally oblivious to everything right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, he still is, because the son gets attacked.
Yeah, so him and Vin and Sparky are playing, and the ball goes, bounces off, but Sparky goes through the wall, and that's where we find out that Matcha is actually reporting to the Avengers, and he kind of freaks out. And so issue 9, okay, I was a little confused. I will say something about this issue. All the way through, the paneling is super cool. because it's individual pages, but when you look at them, they're like symmetrical, and it looks like 2-page panels. Yeah, 2-page layouts. So it's actually single page layouts. You know what I mean? But like when you look at the bottom panels of almost, or even the middle panel, they almost always align right, and it's just such a cool thing art wise that they pulled off here. Like, what a brilliant way to look at how the 2-page spread is going to look to your eyes and appealing.
Well, I think this is one thing that is taken into consideration when making a book like this. I have no doubt that, writers and artists work together obviously pretty closely. And I think, maybe they had a layout of the 2 pages next to each other, and, everything for the most part in comics are done for a reason. Everything's placed because it's there to do something.
Exactly.
And I think, they wanted to generate that grand big effect of what's happening or the passage of time of some sort. And, they kind of work together on like, okay, this is how we want it to kind of be almost like symmetrical between the 2 pages, but we still want to separate them,
Yeah. It's brilliant. And you know what? The paneling on this issue, you could tell this is like one of the best issues panel wise. Man, this 3-page panel scene right here, they will die in flames. And then it shows Vin just being electrocuted, and, Virginia like looking for the dog. Like even the coloring on Virginia at that point, how it's kind of hazy, it's just weird. But then we switch to the flashbacks, and now we have a blue tone over it that makes it eerie too. And it seems like vibranium is like a drug to them almost. Like it alleviates the pain and whatnot.
The scene gives off like some like someone who's addicted to something kind of vibes.
Yes, yeah, like someone's like who's literally physically and mentally in pain, and this is what's soothing them. This is what's taking it away, and it's kind of, it's a teenager. It's kind of like that whole Green Arrow, Red Arrow thing, shooting up heroin, but like it's vibranium.
Yeah, I never, in the Marvel universe, like vibranium and what else is it? Is vibranium what Wolverine's made of?
Yeah.
It is vibranium, huh?
Yeah.
Vibranium's like the major.
No, not Wolverine. That's adamantium. I'm so sorry.
Adamantium. There we go.
Yeah,
that's what
vibranium's Black Panther and Captain America.
That's what it is, because the shield is made from vibranium. Yeah, adamantium and vibranium are like literally worth more than like platinum in this universe.
Yeah, it's
or
insane.
multiverse.
It's like some of the coolest metals ever thought of, like ever. But it's kind of, we're really just getting like the backstory on Matcha at this point and what he's kind of gone through. And apparently he is a teenager that is addicted to this, and he's like even asking his friends to find vibranium for him and whatnot. And it shows that he's not really in control of himself. So when he's trying to stop Vin and try to get him to understand, he loses control. And not only does he just like really hurt Sparky, which is always upsetting, but that dog can kick ass though.
I know, like why they got to pick on this dog so much?
Oh man, I mean, there's one scene coming up that we gotta talk about, but dude, he ends up killing Vin.
Yeah, it's really gruesome, and it's really like sad because his uncle that they were having, his uncle straight up murders him without trying.
Yeah, and it's depressing. Like he's there to like just get info and kind of bond with his family in a sense too, and he is hurting. He is like, lost in everything, and the fact that he's now causing more disaster to what was already placed in front of him, he's just adding to that pain he's already experiencing. And like that trauma he's already has. Yeah. So, oh man, it was just the final page of this one where, Vision is just holding him and Matcha's just freaking out. And then poor Sparky's just passed out the back. Poor puppy.
That's just adding insult to injury there. You killed the kid and now you got the dog dying too.
Yeah. And issue 10 is where we get the awesome family tree cover, and it really just kind of makes everything make sense. Once you really take a glance at it and how these bloodlines were created, I do feel that Scarlet Witch should be attached to Virginia though in some way.
I feel like there should be some sort of connection, and I don't know. I don't like how they place her on this cover too, because it makes it look like she's like a daughter of Vision.
I can see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, I think you got to do like the even kind of like playing field of like
the same size, at least.
Or the same size, and I think it makes more sense. But maybe it was just more of like a couldn't fit in the image kind of thing. But it's hard to say.
Literally, this first like scene is nothing but moment to moment
Yeah, and what I like too is like how the is it emanata when you do the noise in the panel? I think it is. I'm gonna have to double check.
Isn't that an onomatopoeia, the villain that we were just talking about last episode?
No, it's a term was thrown around all over my comic classes, and now I can't remember because it's been like a year and a half. I'm a disappointment to myself. Yeah, I think we'll say onomatopoeia, but I like the idea of like this isolation with the coloring and like there's no noise except for him trying to turn the lighter on or spark the lighter, and I think that's really cool to show like how, in a way, Vision has slowly become isolated in this world that he's created for himself, and that's kind of shown with the house being dark and like him sitting alone.
Oh yeah, for sure. I could agree with that completely. And it's a very Tom King moment. Like even if you didn't know who was writing this book, or if you know Tom King wrote it, you open it up and it's like, that's Tom King. That's just.
Sometimes I read Tom King books and I just want to be like, are you okay, dude? Like,
no, and he's such a happy guy. I've met him so many times, and I listen to a lot of interviews, and he's always just so great. He just really understands pain. It's upsetting but brilliant. Look at Sparky. He's all passed out right here.
I know.
He's so cute. But essentially here, what I love is what he does with their speech too. How when Vision and Virginia are really upset, they are repeating words like, I know. They're just on repeat. And that's happening here when they're talking to Viv, right?
Yeah, Viv.
Yeah. Let's see here. Oh, so essentially, like Vision has been restricted to his home at this point, and the dog tries to go outside and he gets sparked, and you can tell he's just stuck there, and Virginia is kind of stuck on repeat. Dude, this praying moment is like something that's just so powerful, and it's brilliant too, because for those, like, I'm not a religious person. I have no reason to like hide that. I don't believe in any of that type of stuff. And the fact that the Vision and Viv have hit a point, and it's remarkable. Like, even as robots, they look to God for help, for like, it's just like their go-to at that point. They've hit every brick wall, and they've been through so much that all they can do, and all they feel that they can do, is get on their knees and pray that there is a God to listen to them, and if there is a God, to take that Vin had a soul, and if he has a soul, for them to take his soul, and just to like have some comfort, some relief, some hope, something there. And they've gone to religion at this point. They've gone that far, and it's just such a crazy and unique thing that I don't think has ever been done before.
Yeah, for whoever really, whatever it does for you, and a lot of people's low moments, it could be a sanction for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think what Tom King is trying to do here is he's trying to, he's doing everything he can to show that the Vision is being humanized. Or
yes.
In a weird way, the Vision is trying to humanize himself and his family. And I think by having this moment, not only are you building some like, you're explaining the relationship between the father and daughter here, but also, it shows that they are trying to be as human as possible, and even resorting to putting their faith into religion because they've hit such a rock bottom. Mm-hmm. And for anybody out there, it's basically creating empathy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There you go.
It's one of those things that, you could sympathize for a character, right? If you show what they're going through. But then you can empathize with the character and understand where they're coming from, because and this could be for anyone or someone they may know, but at a certain point, some people will go to religion in order to help them cope with whatever's going on. And if you see that happening with the Vision, then it kind of shows that there is this human quality to them.
Yeah.
Because you are witnessing it from a place of experience, or from what you've seen other people go through, or someone you may know, and it allows you to basically invest more in these characters.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And it's such just like a gripping moment, and it stands out, and it very much falls in place too, like it's not one of those things where he's just trying to stuff it in. It has like, it led to this, And it has them kind of reflect on things too. I think another amazingly powerful scene here is towards the end of this issue is Vision takes out his eye. It's such a robot thing, you know what I mean? And plays a recording of Vin reading Shakespeare. And it just shows how busy Vision was and didn't even pay attention to his son really. And he realizes that, and he just sits in the darkness after that. And after that, that's when he realizes how upset he is that he missed out, and he's angry at himself. He's gonna take it out on Matcha. He's like, he's about to go over there and kill him, but he's angry at himself, and that was the tipping point. Was he realized how bad of a father he kind of was towards him.
Yeah, it's one of those things that helps you invest more into the character. You realize like, oh, he feels like he messed up, and he sees this guilt. Real quick, do you know the story of Cain and Abel?
Yeah. I actually got really into that.
Is there some sort of replica going on here where he's going after his brother?
Oh, I never thought about it like that.
It's a biblical story. They were just talking about praying, so I want to know if there's some sort of connection between Cain and Abel.
That's a really good observation. I can definitely see a connection within that, and how that connection gets interrupted for what happens. No spoilers yet, but wow, that's a very good point. I would definitely say it was inspired by it.
Let me see. I'm trying to. Yeah, I should have looked into this. It just kind of dawned upon me just now. Yeah. Let's see. Well, Cain and Abel are the first sons of...
Exactly.
It's kind of crazy because if you look at it, Hank Pym is kind of like the God creator character. And he created Ultron, which is looked at as his son. Yeah. And in a way, Ultron is kind of like this almost like Adam character, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And then Cain and Abel are kind of...
It's a new being, you know what I mean? It's a new type. So Ultron is like the replica of man. And so that fits that category perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then him being the child, the two sons from Ultron, I could say, wow.
It could be. Maybe I'm wrong. Again, I'm just like you, I'm not too knowledgeable on the whole, biblical stuff kind of thing. I did grow up Catholic, but I kind of like got out of it.
Oh yeah,
in my teens.
yeah, same here.
Let me see if I could find something without taking up too much time. Maybe not, but I can kind of see maybe to emphasize on that, biblical kind of storytelling reference.
Well, then just the killing of one another too. You know what I mean? Like I just know about it because like via Sandman and whatnot, and so like the brief history I know from there. But wow, that's very cool. If you let us know in the comments.
Yeah, for real. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. I'm always open to people, interpreting different ways or having a counter argument to what we say. So just let us know.
So on this issue 11.
I love that cover, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Sparky catching Cap's shield. That's so brilliant. Sparky's just the best, dude. Okay, so this is kind of the big lead up that we've all been kind of waiting for. The Vision it's been foretold that Vision is going to kind of like turn and just slaughter everyone. And dude, we need a Vision movie where he kicks everybody's ass. Like this is just too cool of a fight. Like
he is pretty powerful. I mean, there's always. I feel like when needed, every Marvel character is powerful. Like spoilers. I'm just going to say it because this story was out for like 10 years at this point or shorter than that. But I mean, Punisher threatened like Doctor Strange. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Or like Nick Fury. Yeah. Sorry, I almost coughed. Nick Fury killed the Watcher. And he's just kind of like a normal agent in a way.
Nick Fury.
Yeah, he's just Nick Fury. So, it's one of those things like when they need the characters to be super strong, they can kind of like kill everyone,
Yeah.
But Vision is pretty up there.
Yeah, definitely. His ability. He's the Martian Manhunter of the Marvel universe.
Actually, I've never made that comparison. I guess in a way he is, huh?
looking at his abilities, like he's a robot, Martian Manhunter's an alien. They're both kind of like emotional in the sense of like they don't understand humankind, but they're trying to be human. They're both searching for themselves to be that humanity aspect. They both lost a family. Capes, that red and green. Who came out first? What was the first appearance of Martian Manhunter?
I feel like it's gonna be Martian Manhunter because DC always kind of like hits the ground running.
Definitely, because that was Golden Age stuff, right? That's original Justice League and everything.
1955. Detective Comics 225.
Like 20 years before Vision.
Yeah.
Or 10 years maybe. I don't know.
Let's see. Vision came out in the year of 68. Yeah. So
what did I tell you? I knew it.
I didn't doubt you. I said
I know. I'm just on a roll tonight. It's just rare. I'm just getting them all.
Well, I came up with a new comic. Nick Fury versus the Vision. How about that? Dude, really, when they want to.
This issue is amazing because like Virginia reveals what she's done to Viv, and Viv is just like, it's just so powerful because it was the one person that Viv connected with. What she says, he said I was cool, and my mother killed him. Like it's insane. It was the only human that she was able to speak to and like actually maybe potentially be friends with, but no, her mother destroyed that. Yeah, and then you just have Vision just tearing through every single Avenger, which is super cool. This is a weird cast of Avengers. You have Captain Marvel.
This is back in All New, All Different, I think.
Yeah, I wasn't reading
Marvel Now. They did like what, 2 All New, All Differents, and then Marvel Now.
Dude, they had like 3 reboots in like a year and a half. Like
yeah,
there's a bunch of number ones. Yeah. But
yeah, like Nova is the original Nova's son, and then you got Sam Wilson as Captain America, which is totally happening in the show. I'm just calling it now.
Oh yeah.
But is that an Inhuman there? Is that what's her name?
Yeah, that's not Medusa.
Yeah, it is Medusa.
Is it Medusa?
Yeah, it's
she's the queen of the Inhumans.
Yeah, it's Medusa.
Her hair is her power. Yeah, like
I read one Inhumans story arc, and that is the death of the Inhumans, and you know why?
Because Donny Cates.
Exactly.
I got the Donny Cates omnibus. Kato got it for me for Christmas, so I finally get to read it.
Did you get that Original Sin where Nick Fury kills the Watcher though?
No, I skipped that one.
I bought the hardcover for that. This is when I was getting back into comics again, kinda, and I was like, "Oh, Jason Aaron, yeah, sure." And I was like, "That wasn't that great." Sorry,
and then you're just like, "This sounds cool," but yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, and then you find the big twist, and you're like, "Okay, I guess they make anybody powerful when they want to."
Yeah, it was one of those things. I was like, "You better be able to explain this right."
Anyways,
dude, this panel right here. Sparky just getting punched in the face.
God, why do they gotta do this to me? I don't. And his teeth are flying out.
Just beamed in the side, dude. It's so brutal for Sparky. It breaks my heart, man. Dude. Look at that. His guts are ripped out. It is so sad. Like
with the flower he ate.
Yes, and then she eats the flower, which is crazy because she has technically killed someone, the dog, Death, and she's eating it now, so now she is going to see the future. Like it's interesting how they played that out. But now back to the Vision, how he's just kind of just like, I'm going to kill him. I would greatly appreciate your cooperation in this matter. However, I do not require your cooperation in this matter. And it's like, oh damn, like Agatha's a ghost. It's just too crazy. Like, but he takes out Scarlet Witch, which is heartbreaking, because he still loves her. He still knows. That's like his girl.
Well, he didn't brutally attack her like the other Avengers.
Yeah, he just reached in and just knocked her out. And just... man. And you think he's going to reach in, and he hasn't killed anyone yet. Granted. He's fighting superheroes, so no one's died yet. But then Virginia comes and just like rips Matcha's heart out. Like, and is just like, I can't let you, like, it's so sad. It's just brutal. Essentially what she did, and everything is revealed in this last issue, We're on issue 12 now. We're just gonna roll right into
and
it.
as we were saying, the second part of all this, it just kind of flies by because people getting killed, and it just sums up everything. And
and it basically this giant orange flashback sequence, which I feel like you were 100% correct looking back at this, because you were saying that this is the parts of Vision's mind that have been tampered with, and now we're back to this color scheme. Notice when we were doing Matcha's flashbacks, they were like in that blue tint, and that could have been like just due to the character, but however, like doing it like this, it just shows like these were the moments that Virginia had been messing with his mind, and it shows how she did it.
How he remembers things.
Yep. She altered everything, and then she drank. What's the floating water again? I totally forgot.
It like doesn't it like hold information or something?
The water vase of Zenla.
I have no idea. I totally was like, I guess it was one of those moments like this is very comic booky. I got no idea.
Yeah, exactly. And she admits everything to Vision, and she even says she killed the dog. And
why you gotta throw that in there?
I also killed the dog, and Vision's like, oh, like he's just like, thanks for, you're just like going off. And she's dying. She drank the water, and the corrosive effects of the liquid are working through her system.
What does that water vase do? What is it called again?
The water vase of Zen, Zenn -La. Zenla.
I feel like it explained it in this, and it was like one.
It was in the very first issue. It's in one of the first panels. Let me flip over there real fast. This is the end of issue 1. That's when they're giving the family a tour. No, it just says it's a gift from the surfer, which is the only reason why I find it attractive, because the Silver Surfer gave it to him.
I'm looking it up on
where's
Google.
Zenla? What's Zenla from? Is that one of the surfers?
Probably some, maybe some random. You know, I look it up and I get Zelda stuff. Give me a second.
Well, she's dying due to the water corrosion and everything, and now, not only was Vision holding his daughter that died and he brought back to life, he just held his son that they couldn't bring back to life, and he's dead. He didn't get to hold Sparky, but he's now holding his wife that is dying. And everyone who's watching the video, my cat is jumping on my table right now, so I'm so sorry for the shakiness.
It's okay. The internet loves cats.
Yes. If he would have walked on the table, it would have been better, but yeah. So he's just holding his wife. She died. And then Scarlet Witch is having a conversation with Viv, basically just explaining like what it means to be a parent. Because Scarlet Witch knows, even though she technically has not had real kids, she knows the pain, and she knows what it means and the emotions that go behind it. And they quote Merchant of Venice one more time: "One half of me is yours, the other half yours. Mine own, I would say, but if mine, then yours, and so all yours."
That is one of the last lines in the play. What is her name? The main character. God. And this is one of those moments where Shakespeare becomes very ambiguous with the dialogue, where you don't really know what's going on exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like what it could mean multiple things, right? Portia. Yeah, it's Portia.
Portia.
That's like her last line in the play. What page is that on? I was gonna, where'd it go?
So it's basically saying like, you have half of me and I have half of you. I would say, if mine, yours, and so all yours. Like if you have a part of me, you have all of me, right?
Yeah. That's because in the play it's she's saying that to her new husband, and it's one of those things like, is it like she's saying, because this is like what, the 1500s 1600s, so it's kind of like saying like he is the leader in the relationship kind of thing, or it's kind of weird, but it's a little ambiguous, so it could be interpreted different ways. But in terms of the comic, it's more of like there's a piece of Wanda within Viv.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I take it, at least. Like
because it's kind of like the daughter of what was something made out of her, right?
Yeah.
So part of Virginia was part Scarlet Witch. So the fact that Virginia's had a child, and that has been connected to Scarlet Witch. Like, therefore, Scarlet Witch would also look at her as a daughter because she is a part of her in some way. Because Virginia was based off of Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. So again,
interesting.
Again, I highly suggest reading that play. Just saying, it's really worth checking out. There's a lot going on with this. Obviously, it's taking some pieces from that play. But the other thing I was going to say, Viv goes on to be a character that's involved with the Champions, which was written by Mark Waid at the time. I remember reading that. And, they had her make out with the Totally Awesome Hulk or whatever.
What?
Yeah, that happened in the Champions series where like they snuck off to go make out. And then that's where I was like, what's going on?
Yeah, that didn't. Okay. I didn't read any of that.
That's where I was like, okay, so that's what's going on in this series.
And it's one of those things we were just talking about, like right before the show, is that Marvel, and to this day, we were just talking about Daredevil, because Daredevil and Venom, they were books I picked up the first issue or so, and then I stopped. But they were series that, like, it doesn't matter what character it is, Marvel is always a hit or miss. Like, it's always like it wasn't bad, like, but it was cool. Or it was like, this is the most legendary, like, writing of this character of this decade, and it's utterly amazing. Like, it's never in the, like, it's just one or the other, and again, a lot of that stuff was a miss, but Vision was a total hit, like, out of all of those. And it ends on like a really happy note. For one, we get Sparky
for how
back.
Depressing it is.
Yeah, we get Sparky back. We're all happy about that. It's always great seeing Sparky. But also, we end in like a Forrest Gump moment where he's like wearing his shirt and he watches her like go to school. I'm surprised there's not like a feather floating by like in the background of the scene somewhere.
I never thought of it that way when he watches his kid get on the school bus.
Yes, exactly. It's exactly what it reminded me of. And it looks like he's building something new. Could be a wife, could be a son, could be something.
I think it's Vin.
I would say it's Vin. I can agree with that.
It looks like a smaller synthoid body. But I think it's a good ending that leaves it open-ended, that, there's potential. It's kind of morbid that he's trying to rebuild his son, but at the same time, it's like a happy kind of like there's chance. Yeah,
exactly. It's a wonderful read. It's a very big roller coaster of emotions, of situations, of family, of trying to find yourself, of trying to fit in, of trying to accept the truth of, what lies do, what happens when you cover up lies, and like the aftermath. Like, there's so much going on in this book, and that's what makes it just so damn brilliant. And for one of his first major pieces, like
one of his only books at Marvel.
Yeah, which is crazy too. I'm surprised. But
did you know what one of Scott Snyder's first books at Marvel is, or one of his only?
Iron Man Noir.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Those guys that do everything at DC, they got like one Marvel book.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the main guys pretty much, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know if Capullo's ever done Marvel art. I'd be really interested in that.
No, I mean, for anybody who, most people know, he did Spawn.
Yeah, he did.
I know, right? All I'm saying, again, give me a Sparky miniseries. Let me write it, Marvel. I can do things. Yeah, I can make stories happen.
Some backup pages. That'd be some great stuff for that. Honestly.
Yeah.
Guys, what a ride. And you know what? Watch WandaVision. Like, read this or watch it and then read this, or read this and then watch it, and stuff just makes sense. Like, I watched WandaVision and I came to this, and then it was just so much fun. Man, that is just it's so good. Such a good read, and I'm so happy we got to cover it. It was good rereading this. I bought this at here's my plug-in, Astro Zombies in Albuquerque. That's where I got this this hardcover for, because I was looking at stuff, and I always like checking out comic shops whenever I travel. And this guy was like, dude, if you haven't read this, like, I'm not even telling you what to do, but like, put everything you have away that you grabbed and just grab this. Like, I'm telling you, it's gonna blow your mind. And we picked it up, and it was just, I've read it, Kato's read it, and it's just such a great book, and it's great to analyze. And it's really like a masterclass in great comic book writing, because everything that's hinted, how they hold panels, how they show what's happening to the families in the background without saying it, like with the for sale sign and stuff like that. It's just good. It's just humanity, it's insane.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting to watch and compare it to the show because they're almost completely different, but you can see that the tone was taken from the book into the show.
Yeah,
and they definitely don't
key panel moments too.
Yeah,
just
they
scenes,
don't. They don't line up plot wise, but you can see where the influence is. So,
oh yeah,
I like you're saying. I agree. Read it before watching the show. Read it after, or do what we did. Read it before, watch the show, read it after. It's worth it. And I was talking to my friend about this. How this is probably the best superhero comic to come out that year.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a roller coaster of emotions, and it's definitely worth the deep dive of checking it out and really breaking it down.
Whew. Well, guys, thanks for hanging out tonight. Of course, this is Apollo City Comics. We have a bunch of cool content coming out for you this month with a new segment. It's now April, so we have a new show for the spring called Backlog Breakout, and it's short little videos of just single issues in our collection that I haven't read, that Brandon's apparently read everything of. But
well, you got to call me out like that, all right?
But that's out now. Check out our new YouTube channel off of Apollo City Comics. And a couple shout outs to some of our great friends we work with. First off, this is engineered by Frank, who is part of Uninformed Movie Reviews. Brandon, what are they doing? Actually, this is probably from last month, but go check out their stuff and see what they did last month. But give them the quick overview. Well,
yeah, so Apollo City Comics is engineered by Uninformed Movie Reviews. And then I believe this month, or maybe the past month, the Uninformed Movie Review boys are digging into Tremors, Pie, Thank You for Smoking, and the most Texas movies.
Yes.
Check out what?
Oh, I just said yes. I was excited for that.
Check out Uninformed Movie Reviews on YouTube, Instagram, and your preferred podcast platform.
Yeah.
And then, as always, make sure to check out Sutro Side Talk. We've definitely done some stuff with them. Brandon's continuing to do stuff with them, and so will I. Definitely check out thirdplanet.news if you want to catch up on anything pop culture related, and check out my comic book little mini reviews. And definitely read Vision and not what's it called, Original Sin, where Nick Fury kills the Watcher, because the Vision is just much better.
Yes. And wow, you covered everything. You kind of got all the shout outs done.
Yeah. Make sure to what else is there? And always, keep an eye out for updates on social media. Apollo City Comics is always trying its very best to give you updates on everything comic book related. You could always listen to us on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, YouTube, along with the accompanying videos that give a visual aspect to our audio. And what's the other platforms they're on? Is it Pandora, iHeartRadio, and
yeah. And
it's all those, right?
It's all. It's like on everything. If you find a podcast app, we're on there.
Yeah, preferred podcast platform, it's there.
There you go. Well, thanks for hanging, Brandon.
Thank you for having me, Brandon.